When you buy a music album or a pair of shoes online, no actual physical money moves. We like to imagine a digital vault somewhere, carefully transferring our digital cash. But all that happens is Amazon's bank changing a tiny line on a private spreadsheet to say they have $10 more, and your bank doing the exact same thing to say you have $10 less. Human commerce has always relied on patching its systems whenever they get too slow. In stage 1, we used a barter system. You had a cat, you wanted a horse, so you traded. The obvious friction was that the person with the horse rarely wanted your cat. The trade simply failed. So society applied its first major patch, stage 2, precious metals. Gold and silver coins fixed the matching problem, but they created a massive logistical nightmare. To participate in the economy, you had to physically care, store, and protect heavy bags of metal wherever you went. That brought us to stage 3, paper money. We stopped trading the valuable metal itself and started trading a receipt for it. A 10-pound note is essentially a piece of plastic with a guarantee stamped on it by a government. The value shifted entirely from the material in your hand to your trust in the institution printing it. Over time, the concept of money shed all physical value. It became a purely abstract idea maintained by centralized banks. This leaves modern commerce dependent on the honesty of a handful of central institutions, which leads right back to stage 4, digital credit. Cash has largely vanished into those opaque digital ledgers managed by third-party middlemen. We no longer see our money, we only see the spreadsheet interface our banks allow us to see. Because these central gatekeepers hold a monopoly on the spreadsheet, they dictate the terms of trade. Routing a simple international payment takes half a day, requires multiple currency exchanges, and gets hit with high transaction fees at every single step. Beyond the fees, traditional banking requires specific documentation, local addresses, and credit histories. These administrative barriers exclude millions of people without the necessary paperwork from participating in the global economy. By trusting a handful of institutions to manage the ledger, we built an incredibly exclusionary financial network. Fixing it required a way to remove the gatekeepers entirely. We needed patch 5.0. That patch is stage 5, cryptocurrency. The core mechanics are identical to the current system, with one massive tweak. Instead of one bank hiding a private ledger behind closed doors, cryptocurrency operates on a single, 100% public, virtual spreadsheet that everyone can access. This is decentralization. Rather than a bank's server holding the master record, millions of independent computers around the world maintain their own exact copies of this ledger. These operators, known as miners, dedicate their hardware to maintain the network. When you buy something with a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, that request isn't sent to a corporate headquarters. It is broadcast simultaneously to every single computer on the network. Each machine checks its own copy of the spreadsheet to verify you actually have the funds. If the overwhelming majority of the network agrees the math checks out, the transaction clears. The computers update their records independently, and the miners earn a tiny amount of crypto as compensation for their processing power. You no longer have to trust a bank clerk or a CEO. The system places financial trust entirely in an open network of math-driven machines. A publicly accessible ledger needs a way to stop anyone from simply writing in whatever balance they want. That secure organization method is called a blockchain. It is literally just a way of organizing that giant spreadsheet into distinct blocks of data. This diagram shows the anatomy of a single block. Each one holds 3 specific things: the transaction data, a unique digital fingerprint called a hash, and the exact hash of the block that came immediately before it in the sequence. Because each block carries the fingerprint of the last, they form a strict mathematical chain. If someone tries to secretly adjust the transaction data in an old block, its hash instantly changes. Because the fingerprint no longer matches, it immediately breaks the connection to the subsequent block, invalidating the rest of the chain. To successfully steal money, a thief can't just alter one block on one computer. They would have to mathematically rewrite every subsequent block in the chain and execute that exact same hack on at least 500,000 independent computers around the world, all at the exact same moment. Getting into a traditional dollar account is often as simple as guessing a 6-digit PIN. Cryptocurrency secures its network by relying on the sheer impossibility of out-calculating a global army of computers. By stripping away the central authority, the bureaucratic friction that slows down traditional money completely vanishes. There are no branch managers asking for permanent addresses or credit scores. Anyone with a basic internet connection can open a wallet and instantly plug into the system. This map illustrates what borderless commerce actually looks like. A user in a rural village can send a peer-to-peer payment to a vendor on another continent almost instantly, with no spending limits, no exchange rates, and transaction fees that often round down to zero. It replaces a closed geographical banking infrastructure with universally accessible mathematics, creating a financial network that anyone on Earth can use. This chart shows the extreme volatility of crypto assets. Because these currencies are entirely digital and incredibly new, the reality of the current market is pure speculative chaos. The valuation of the biggest coins is entirely untethered from physical assets. Prices will spiral wildly upwards based on a glowing news article and then instantly plummet just because a billionaire decides to post a negative tweet. This completely unregulated frontier has generated some truly bizarre byproducts. We are seeing meme coins turning internet jokes into millionaires, and public figures selling the digital ownership rights to a 5-word tweet for nearly $3 million. But the market noise surrounding these assets is ultimately a distraction. The underlying cryptographic technology works as designed, providing a method to transfer value across the planet without requiring a middleman's permission.